Hey ManCavians, this is Bob from DaBob's ManCave, and today we're talking about Benchwork, building the skeleton of this Free-moN module. Now we talked about how that was all going to go together in the design phase and getting all those things prepared before I start cutting out all the pieces for this module. So that's what we're going to be talking about today and showing you how I got it all done. So let's go see what I did. Okay, I picked up a 4 foot by 4 foot piece of poplar plywood. I also picked up a 4 by 8 sheet of underlayment for underneath tile floors, linoleum, and so forth. These are my end pieces. So this is going to be the ends that butt up to other modules. These smaller pieces here, they're going to be actually the sides of the box, and that's how tall that module will be. And then I also have these 1 by 3s, which are basically 3/4 inch by 2.5 inch. This is select pine. You get these at Menards, and it's really nice wood. So now that I have my 6 pieces cut for each circle that I'm making, I need to cut my angles, which are going to be at 7.5 inches, or I mean 7.5 degrees, and thus I need to set my miter. You can kind of see I got about 7.5. Now I'll start making some cuts. Okay, I've made my first 7.5 degree cut right there. I have marked the inside of this board. This is the side I want not facing the what people see. And so since I cut on this direction, I just want to take this board, keep it on facing the same direction, just flip it over 180 degrees and put it back into where you're going to cut it. Make sure you cut to this side of the board, and your blade should basically just skim the corner to make a nice even cut. If not, you're just going to have to sand down a little bit and make it more flush, or trim it down a little more. But the trick is, make your wood just a little bit longer than what you need it, so you have that option to trim it down to size. So a little tip here. If you got small pieces that you need to cut, like this one, and it doesn't fit in within your brace to get to the blade because it's way over there, you just put a couple blocks in there, slide it in, line it up where you want to cut it, clamp it down, and just cut. Hold it in place, cut it. Then all you gotta do is flip it over, put it in place, clamp it down again, resize it, cut. Pretty simple. So I've got my pieces in here, and I laid them out onto my template with the outside right on the line, and on those lined marks is where all the angles actually line up. So I love it when a plan comes together. As you can see from the other side, all these are going to look pretty good. I do have some rough spots on some of the cuts. Some sanding will fill that out. It's not perfect, but you know what? I realize I'm going to put that fascia on this front side anyway, so it's not going to matter too much if it's perfect or not. On this inside circle, I'm going to do the same thing. You just line right up. There you go. I now have a rough outline of where this thing is going to go together. Now I just need to cut a bunch of other wood and start putting pieces together. There it is. I'm using 1.5 inch number 8 screws. So after I got the two sides put on, I'm putting this piece in next. So I have it clamped in place where I'm going to drill it, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did to this other side, which was to countersink and glue the board and screw it all in. I even put some wood glue on the threads for the screws after I put them in already. I took them out, put some glue on them, just a little bit, and screwed them back in. It'll keep the screws from working their way back out. And here we are, we have one end completed. Stands up just like that. That's the side that's going to connect to other modules. I put a brace down there to keep the bottoms nice and well, square basically. And the rest of the stuff is going to attach to this board on the other side, two of them butting up next to each other, so the whole curved section will attach to that. I do plan on putting in some leg connections up in this area on both ends, so I'll get the poles will go all the way down these sides down to the bottom. So I'm going to have figure out something down there. I wasn't planning on having anything open. This is going to be open here, so you can get clamps and stuff up inside there and work on electronics. The electronics, if any electronics, will be on the inside of these areas here, so I can reach them. So after a few hours of fooling around, remeasuring, recutting a couple boards, my measurements were just a little off because the wood was not exactly 3/4 inches wide. So I had to recut all of these to 16 5/8. So they were basically, yeah, 1/16 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch off in size. So I had to add that on there. And so I got them done. As you can see, they're freestanding, which is good. These are all balanced and square. Now on to the next phase, the more complicated one, making that curve section. Okay, I've got one end put up where I want it. As you can kind of see how this is going. Standing up about as high as it's going to be, 14 inches. And I have cut a piece right here to fit in between these rounded pieces for my circle, and I cut that at 7.5 inches as well on both ends the same way. You don't have to flip it over, you just slide it down and cut the same angle in both directions on both ends, and it fits right in there. Okay, time to move on to the next steps. Okay, so what do we have here today is I am going to be screwing in my sides that are curved, trying to make that, that circle kind of shape to it. And I took some test pieces and I have screwed them together with pocket screws using the Craig system, as I've done before in previous videos. But I had never really done it on a kind of curved area. So I tried an inside curve and I tried an outside curve. Okay. Used 1 1/4 inch Craig screws, pocket screws, and they don't stick all the way through and they hold pretty tight. So this is pretty strong, and what I can do is I will do that to the real pieces, and I'll put some wood glue in the middle of that before I screw them together. And then when I'm done, I'll sand down these rough edges smooth, and we'll be cooking with gas. and you have it all put together. And this one got a little off center when it was gluing together, but that's fine. I can just sand down the sides there and get it nice and flush. It's all going to be covered up anyway. Okay, I got all of these put together, and they're nice and solid and glued and so forth. Now I just need to connect these ends down here to each end of these and make a curved rectangle. So here we are. I've got this all screwed together. I put 1.5 inch screws. Let's take this. Okay, I've got one side temporarily screwed in, and I just have to do the other side. Once I get the holes drilled where I want them, I'll pull these out, glue them, and screw them all back in. So all the ribs are now screwed in and ready to continue with the next phases, which are attaching these ends and then checking the overall stability and flexibility. See if it flexes too much on the inside, may have to put some bracing in, or maybe not. Probably won't have to do that too much once I get the rest of the building and the foam in and everything else. We'll stiffen it up. Okay, I screwed in the ends to both sides. Now this is one solid architecture here. Nice and flat. All I need now is to get some legs put on. Taking one of these, see how it's flat right here, and I can screw in a telescoping handle right into there. I'm going to cut this off, put a piece of 1/4 inch plywood behind here, or in between here, and then I'm going to stick it down right inside there. Make it nice and flat. And then I have these long arm expanding or extending paint roller handles. They'll go right in there. You can get these at Menards. These are the 3 to 6 foot size. And I do need another one that I'm going to put right over here on this curved side, because it's going to kind of tilt in this direction, just the way things go. So I need to get a different one that's a little bit shorter, or I may just cut one of these and make it a little bit shorter. But that's the plan. Also, I made these shorter in here so I could lay foam down inside this cavity and it would stay nice and tight. So that's where part of the base is going to go down in there, and I'm going to work up from that. Man. Well, the bench work is done, and hope you enjoyed watching me put all this stuff together and put the plan into motion and make it all connected and ready for the next step, which is I got to put legs on. So since I have that skeleton all open and available to put the legs in, I better do it now or I won't be able to do it later. So that is part 3, which is the legs. So if this is your first time visiting DaBob's N-Scale Man Cave, consider subscribing down below. Tell me what you liked in the comments down below. Ring that bell so you get notified of future videos like this one, and also give me a thumbs up. Really helps. As always, Man-Cavians, happy model railroading. You stay off those tracks. Bye. Cut, print. Woo!